today. We're going to have a little confession time. I'm going to talk about my time as a white collar criminal, what I got, why I stopped, plus a new YouTube channel. One of the things that I want to bring on, let me go ahead and get into that. So today, let me go ahead and do some stuff real quick. Let me go ahead and get into his house because this is going to be a burner. It's been a long time since I've talked about this stuff, and it's going to be a little crazy. So let me go ahead, get some stuff going on. Make sure people are updated. Make sure that I am sending the right traffic to the right places. All right. So get rid of all of that. And let's talk about it. This was a long time ago, and it was kind of crazy how it went down. This was after I was in the boarding house, and this is when I got a little desperate. Now, I got a whole lot desperate. Let's just keep it a buck. I got very, very desperate. And one of the things, let's see. Oh. All right, so let me go ahead and do all of that over again. Hold on. All right. So this is the new YouTube channel. My life as a full-time YouTuber is called Life on the Tube. What I will be talking about is YouTube related content in my life as a YouTuber. I have been doing YouTube almost 11 years. This August 6th, which is literally 3 weeks away, I will mark my 11th year on YouTube, and I'll begin my 12th year on YouTube. So if you want to learn about YouTube, if you're interested about YouTube, want to start a YouTube channel, this is what you want to. Plus, I will be giving behind the scenes peeks and talking about the process and just stuff that only matters to YouTubers. You know, if you're not really interested in a YouTube channel, you're not going to want to subscribe to this channel. But if you want to know about it, and I'll be talking about the cameras, the process, all the stuff that I got going on that doesn't make any sense to talk about on this channel. Just doesn't make any sense. So go ahead, subscribe if you want to know more about YouTube. All right. So let's come on back to this white collar criminal madness. One of the things that I've always been smart, and There were many, many seductive situations in the West End that, I wasn't like a robbery type guy. I definitely wasn't going to sell no drugs. And I actually looked it up and I was like, if I got caught, my chances of getting probation or 1 or 2 years were very, very high. So I went into it and I'm going to tell you what I did. And this going to be crazy. I actually committed check fraud. Now, let me go ahead and tell you how this, because this period of my life lasted about six. I actually got a lot done in 6 months, maybe 8 months. And one of the things I was doing was credit card fraud. And back then, credit card fraud was beyond easy. Let me tell you what I would do. I would go to a post office in a high-end neighborhood, and I would just go through the trash. And I would find all of the pre-approved credit card offers. And I mean, just change the address, send them in, get the credit cards. This is how I got my first computer. There was this company, Computech or something like this. And they were like, they sent this chick a pre-approved credit app and I filled it out. And I literally had the computer delivered to the boarding house, which now that I think about it was kind of stupid. But I remember the day I was there, the delivery guy came with the boxes and stuff, and then it was a brand new computer. And I didn't really go too much further than that because, I was scared, but I was also excited because this is the danger. Once you start doing capers, it can become addictive because, I was like, man, that worked. I was like really, really shocked. So that's how I got my computer. And there was some other stuff. I actually got a few of the credit cards. I never used them because I was scared. So the next caper, which I actually did because I liked it because it was cash. With that computer, I went online and ordered check making software. And I ordered magnetic ink. And essentially, I was able to duplicate virtually any check outside of, a government check or something that needed really, I wasn't that sophisticated. But if it was just a plain old check. And I remember I used to work in this office and this dude would leave all his checks and stuff on his desk in the evening. And I didn't even work there anymore. So what I did is I got on the bus. I went to the office, walked in when they were closing. I was literally in and out of there in 2 minutes. Went straight to his office, got what I needed, some checks that had cleared, because they used to send you your cleared checks back in the mail. And I picked up a batch of them, and I walked out, waved at the folks, because they were like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Just in and out. Went back to the boarding house, and I took my magnetic ink into the toner, my magnetic ink in there, and I started printing up checks. And hold on a second. Huh. I'm in that kind of mood today. So now this is where it got really sweet. Now I'm actually jumping a little bit ahead. I actually knew how to create a bank account online and never go in the bank. So there was a credit union that I knew of, and I was able to mail in my stuff, and I used this mail drop. It was this trailer with a post office with a mailbox in front of it that was like all the way on the other side of town. So I went ahead and I set up my bank account through that mailbox. So I never went to branch. They never saw me. And I had them, and they opened up a checking and savings, and they sent me an ATM card, and that's all I needed. So I would deposit the checks from this dude's account into that account in an overnight mail drop. And I remember the first time, and this was really before online banking and stuff and everything. And I remember I had deposited a check for like $8,000. And I went to the ATM that was close to this mail drop, and I had a hoodie on, and I had my hoodie, and I went to the ATM just like this, stuck the card in. I even had gloves on. They couldn't even tell what color I was. And I punched it in, and the ATM went. And at the time, the most you could get was $500. So every day I was rolling to the, hold on. Hold on. So every day I was rolling to that ATM because it was, because I didn't do stuff close to where I live. I always went outside of my area. And every day I went to this ATM, and every day it gave me $500. So at about on the 8th day, well, no. So I was getting $1,000 every 2 days. So on the 10th day, the account was empty. So what did I do? I went ahead and deposited another check. Went ahead, did the same thing, did this for literally 3 months. And I got about $50,000. And one day I went to the ATM, and then the ATM kept the card, and it went like, contact the bank. I was like, oh, the gig's up. So I had about 50K. And then about 2-3 weeks later, I went over there and I saw that the mailbox had been removed. And it was just like, whoa. And then I had, $50,000, which essentially shored up enough stuff. I didn't buy a car. I didn't start balling. I didn't start buying clothes and stuff. I just put that money in the bank, and I only used about maybe 12 or 14K of it. And what I did is, this is going to be really, really crazy. I took the money that I had left and hold on. So I went back and I took the money and I put it on dude's desk and like wrote, I'm sorry. And then over time, I actually paid all that back. And I never did it anymore because part of the situation is it was so easy. It was so easy. And I if I kept on, I know I would have got addicted and I would have got caught. But I was able to get, because the computer cost like $5,000, because I mean, I got a fully nicely loaded computer, laser printer, 17-inch monitor. I got the max, I got the max for at the time I could get. And I left it alone. I left it alone. And it was kind of crazy being in this situation of having kind of like this superpower, as I called it. It was like a little superpower because, I mean, it was insanely easy to do. And it was insanely easy to get results. And it was insanely, because like, the whole time I was doing it, I was struggling. I was really, really struggling. And I needed the money, but I didn't want to be in a situation where this became a habit. Now, this is where it gets good, because if I had went that way, y'all probably wouldn't have heard of me, because I mean, I would have been a super criminal. I would have been getting the millions, because the way that I put that caper together, it literally took me 30 minutes to come up with the plan. And then, I had to go, because I figured out how to open up the checking account and not go into the branch, which oddly enough, with all these online banks, if you got the right credentials, you can do that today. And you will never go in the branch. They'll never know who you are. And if you just, it is just crazy. And it was like insane. And I struggled with this because I needed that money, right? I struggled with it. But I was like, you weren't born to be a criminal. So I got the computer. I ran that caper. I did a few others. That was pretty much it. And I just stopped. And also, when I think about it, it's crazy how I had made way more money than the drug dealers in my neighborhood. I knew that I had made more money than they did. And I was just sitting there like, why won't they do this? And, it was, the whole thing is, that wasn't cool. It really, it was just a really, really crazy, because literally I was able to get $50,000, more money than I've ever seen in my life. And it was all in 20s. And this was funny because this was my first time dealing with a lot of cash. And I was coming from the ATM with like these little thick stacks of 20s, because I couldn't get hundreds at the time. All I could get was 20s. And I kept going out there, and it was just like, they never saw my face. I never went in the branch. And I remember the time that I took the money back to the dude, I went in with the cleaning crew. And I just left it alone. And then, over time, I paid him back all his money. No interest. It was an interest-free loan. But I kind of look back at, I think my character came through at that time. I think that, because like I said, I couldn't sleep at night. The whole time I was doing it, I couldn't sleep. I had a guilty conscience. It was crazy. It was really, really crazy. But I do remember the excitement and the anticipation when the first caper worked, and when the delivery truck pulled up with that computer. And then I knew that I had to move, because I really had nowhere else to send the computer. So I sent it to the boarding house, and I just moved to another boarding house. And it was it was wild. It was wild. But I think, because, the dude in the thumbnail, his name is Kenvo Bandcamp or Bandwagon. He's a rapper, but he used to do this scamming, and he was talking about he was doing like 50,000 a week, sometimes 50,000 a day. And when he was talking, I knew what he was saying was true. I knew what he was saying was true because with white collar crime, you can get so much money so quickly if you have the right connects in the right situation. And, from a standpoint, because I was still the old Glendon Cameron at that point. Even today, I wouldn't do nothing like that. I just wouldn't do anything like that because, to take from someone else's hard work and effort, it's just wrong. And I understood that, and I realized that because at no point did I try to rationalize it because I knew what I was doing was wrong and illegal. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was illegal. I knew it was bad. And I did it because the whole process, start to finish, was about 8 months. Bandman Kevo. Yep. Because see, the whole thing is, I don't even know if because at one point they used to send out pre-approved credit. I mean, all you had to do was just fill it out and they sent it back. And I do remember there was some, like, check this out. Be careful where you throw away your trash. Because I used to dumpster dive at this post office religiously. And on one trip, you'll get a pre-approved credit app. On another trip, you'll get a document with the social on it. And, because, I've never talked about this before, but, I would watch stuff and people like, if you hit the trash of a bank, that could be gold. That could literally be gold because you only need a few pieces of information. You just need that social, you just need the credit app, and you need an address. And I figured out, and I'm about to tell you something that's wild. You know that you could literally take a brand new post office, find a place that doesn't have, not a post office, a mailbox. Find a place that doesn't have a mailbox, put a mailbox at that place, put some numbers on it, and send mail, and the post office will deliver it to that address. You could just literally make up an address. And, it was some other stuff. But I'm just here to tell you that if I was a different person, I probably would have kept on doing it. Because like I said, I would it was because it was scary. It was exciting. It was thrilling at the same time because I was afraid of getting caught. That was my number one fear. It was like, I don't want to get caught. I don't want to catch a charge. I don't want to get a record. And then the other heart racing moments was when it worked. Because when I went to that ATM for the first time and then it went I was like, whoa, what? And I kept going back and I got that whole 8 G's. Then I rolled another check and I got all that money. Then I rolled. It took them the longest time to catch on. Because see, I would not use ATMs anywhere near where I lived. I didn't want, because I would have to work. And this is bad to say. I would have made an excellent criminal because the best criminals put in work. Because I would literally get on the bus, ride the bus to this ATM. I would go miles away from where I lived. And, it's crazy. And this was like many, many years ago. And I didn't do it. And I'm going to tell you, the first time that I was creating an LLC and I was about to do business credit, I thought about it. I was like, man, I can get me 50, 100K real quick if I just do X, Y, and Z. And I think this is the battle that you have with yourself when you have an ability to do something like that and you wrestle with yourself, because I was deeply, deeply conflicted. Was deeply, deeply conflicted. And I stayed away from it. And I worked all of these crappy jobs for low pay and everything. And this was, the thing that gets me is y'all don't understand how easy this was. It was not, I mean, I remember on the Chick's pre-approved credit app, I found some more mail with her name on it. It didn't ask for a social. I just filled it out, changed the address, and then I ordered the computer. And that sucker showed up about 9 days later. And I was like, man, this is good. And then the computer was pretty much my gateway into everything, because this is how I got the job at Rent-A-Crate, because I had that computer in the boarding house. I mean, it was the craziest thing, because people would something like come in the room. It's like, hey man, and I had a phone jack in the room, and I had those, and I would go through those AOL disc, and I would have people coming. I'll tell you a little dirty story in a minute. I would have people come into my room to want to use my computer, because they would see me up late at night on the computer researching whatever. And there was this boarding house in East Point, and it allowed, because the boarding house in the West End was, I never saw a woman over there. It was mostly men, and the women that were in there were crackheads. But this boarding house in East Point was co-ed. And I remember, oh God, I remember this little cute little chocolate drop. She was about 5'1". She was super, super sexy. She had this little sassy short haircut, and she was this beautiful shade of chocolate from head to toe. And her name was Darla. And one night I'm in my room, and I was like, who's knocking on my door? And it's like 10:30 at night. And I open up the door, and it's her in a robe. And she's like, hey, I heard you got a computer. You mind if I look some stuff up? Sure, come on in. So she comes in, and it's like a little sheer little robe and stuff. And I could tell she had nothing on under the robe. I was like, So I like pulled out the seat and let her look up some stuff and everything. And she was looking up some stuff and everything. And it was about, she was on there about an hour. And I said, hey, I'm getting ready to go to sleep. Oh, okay. You horny? I'm like, what? You horny? And she stood up, let the robe drop. Super tight little body. Next thing I know, she came over, and she took my dang-a-lang out, and she put her mouth on it. I'm like, I probably busted in 3 minutes. And I was like, whew. And she said, if you don't mind, I need some more stuff to do. I'll do that again. And I was like, I like this boarding house. So that was our little agreement, if you will. I'll tell you. Someone was, BGS Igmore was talking to me about a man with resources. And he was talking about the 1%. You don't have to be 1%. As long as you got more stuff than the average dude, you good. And it was crazy, because I haven't thought about that, because today I was like doing the new YouTube channel, and I was thinking, because I've been doing YouTube. This is the longest career I've ever had of anything. August 3rd will be 11 years, because I was in the storage auction business about 9 years. So this is the longest career that I ever had. And I'm probably going to do another 10 years, because that's when I'm starting a new YouTube channel. And it got me to thinking about the evolution the things I've been through, the things I've done, and it was crazy. It was really, really crazy because when I started to think how I was in that boarding house, and I started to think about all of the hell I went through in that boarding house. And, for many years, I've left out that caper, the white collar criminal aspect. And I have to admit that helped me tremendously because there was a period of time I wasn't working. And that 14K filled in a lot of gaps really nicely. And it was getting that computer was a game changer. Y'all remember Tony Brown's journal? And I remember listening to him because he used to come on the radio. And I remember he once said that the kid who house has a computer, he's going to be a millionaire. And it was this whole thing about it was so important to get a computer for your home for your children. And that stayed with me. And I was like, what about the adults? So I got myself a computer when I got myself in this first thing. I didn't go out and get jewelry or shoes or clothing. I got income producing resources because if I had not did that caper, then it would have been really hard, not impossible, but more challenging for me to do what I did to get the job at Rent-A-Crate. It would have been a lot more challenging. It would have been way more challenging because I would have had to do some extra legwork. Because, since I had the computer, I could just sit there, upload my resume, print up resumes and stuff like this. So I could do it all from my room. And that computer was the genesis of the G you see today. Because, like I said, one of the reasons I stopped the white collar crime is habits. I'm like, if I keep this up, I'm going to get caught sooner or later because this is one of the things. I never had this false arrogance that I would never get caught. Oh, I'm too smart. No. I was, every time I went to that ATM the first month, I was scared. I was like, I would have these scenarios that there would be a police car. The police would jump out the bushes with handcuffs or something like that. And never happened. But that was my worst fear. The scariest fear that I've ever had of being caught and incarcerated. But one of the things that I stayed with, all right, let me go through these comments real quick, is I learned that if you put together a plan and execute, it works. I mean, same process, except everything I do is legal now. All right. Kevin Davis, my grind's been serious during this thing, man, making money like crazy. All right. All right, Spencer Archibald. What's up, people? All right, Pody. Trey, everybody in Miami has been in this game? Really? Old head Deuce. I used to buy a gun every year of college because of free credit card. Really? Anthony Johnson, you were out there, man. You painted yourself as squeaky clean guy. That's how I bought some of my first stock from white collar money. Oh, man. That's funny. Anthony, I was years ago. It's no proof. I just received a check. I then busted down. Cleveland Hainsworth, thanks for the $10 super chat. Thank you for everything you do, Glenn, especially love Savage Finance. Well, the internet down here is super strong. It's interesting. Anthony Johnson went in the bank and pulled out 1,500. My heart was racing, and as soon as I got it, I was skipping bliss out the bank. Oh man, I was GQ undercover. Oh, I think too many confused crime and revolution. There was no revolution, man. I was a criminal. I mean, I just keep it a buck. Been the bartender, and all them white collar dudes get a slap on the wrist. The good ones end up working for the government, pretty much. Dorian Nance, thanks for the $5 super chat. Rest in peace, Glendon Scamron. Hey, at that time, it was an appropriate. Carl Black, it's just not in you, Glendon. You're not about that. I'm just not, man. Like I was like, I was so worried. I mean, night sweats and stuff. Hard work. We don't know how some of these people got their money. Yep. You need to shred everything. Pretty much. Yes, Lee G. Guard your kids' info also. Pretty much Carl Blank. Steven, I shred everything because of dudes like you. Tony, I'm not going to lead people to the dark side. Oh, the bank shreds those documents because, like, back in the day, I could tell you, the stuff I found dumpster diving, like, I actually got a live credit card once dumpster diving because the lady just threw it away, and the bank had sent her a live credit card. Dorian, I was off the chain because, see, this is because when I speak of the lower intellect and the lower class behavior, I speak from experience. And I like, this is like, because like I said, and one of the things that I didn't do, I never told anyone. Y'all are the first people to ever hear about this. I never told anyone. Never. Only person who knew I was doing this was me, and I knew I wasn't going to tell on me. Tales from the dark side of the force. Fit Life 120. I never got locked up because I never got caught, man. And the statute of limitations on that stuff expired years ago. I was committed. Tales from the Crypt. Ben the bartender. I remember folks were doing this with cell phones, and you can mail an application. And I didn't know that. I didn't think that high because, like I said, after my first foray and just being nervous, Kevin, Uncle G, that's the 90s lick. Really? Carl Black, scamming is it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Hush Puppy is a big-time scammer that just got caught for stealing $35 million from U.S. government. Wow. Infinitely abundant. Oh my God, I always shred those offers and always opt out of them. Ben the bartender, you was wondering how you had access to a computer in the boarding house. That's it. A Rush, white collar crime makes the world go round. You think Donald Trump's dad built his whole property being straight laced? No, and the most millionaires who are white don't, but they just lock black us folks up. Hey, is that what it's called? Dry snitching? I feel if you turn her and scam, like I would never go ahead and teach anyone how to do this stuff. LG, I look like a nerd librarian teacher type with glasses on. I was making so much money as a teen in the 80s, packaging drugs up. My mother had no clue. Hey, the boarding house is in East Point. I have not been by there in years. And for it was the deal because she was, and we had a nice little thing going on because she just roll in there. She was super sexy, just a little nice little chocolate drop. That's the '90s entanglement. Pretty much, Brian. Pretty much. 5 racks on the CPU. That was definitely the times. Damon Dark. So you think what you learn from a little illegal stuff can help you succeed in legitimate? Oh, absolutely. Because it's the same process. You still have to work hard. Because all right, let's just go ahead and talk about. Let me go ahead and read all these comments. Oh, really, Mr. Urban World? That's funny. The Hood Chronicles. Hey, y'all were the first ones. All right. Now, why did I never get caught? Because I planned this thing out to the T. Number one, I never exposed myself to harm. I never went into a bank branch. I never tried to cash a check. I thought about it, but that would have been risky because I knew that you go in the bank, you just see them on the wall. There's cameras everywhere. And I'm like, man, they have me in their system. And the ATM was painfully slow. And, after that first 8 days, I was like, yeah, this is nice. It took me like 2 weeks to get the full 8K out. And then I wrote a smaller check because I wrote smaller checks because I didn't want to because if I wrote a check for $30,000, it was going to take me forever to get that out the bank. So I just kept it in amounts because all the other checks were much smaller. They were like 4 and 5,000 and something that I could get out in a week. And it was crazy. Mr. Urban One, I guess no one here knew about the 2008. What free Amazon money? I didn't know about that. I did not know about that. God is no. You actually wouldn't be teaching people to scam. You would be providing gentle God. I don't know about that because part of the whole thing is I don't. I believe this stuff still works. It's just I don't do it anymore. This was 1998-ish that I did this. Can we get a scam package? Nah, I'm not. I'm not doing any of that. I did this in 1998, and I have been scam free since then. Cause here's the thing. First of all, I already knew I was black, and I already knew that if I got caught, it was going to go a little worse for me. And I'm just sitting there like, I ain't built for that jail life. I'm not built for that convict life. I'm just not. So I let it go. Nope, never started Sun, never started, did anything call attention. I just had a lot of cash on me. Had a lot of cash. And one of the things, oh, I'm not gonna teach that stuff. That's the antithesis of many of the principles that I talk about and I hold dear. I'm not going to teach people how to do this stuff. It was I just figured it out myself in 1998, and I started to apply what I figured out. Roger Marine in the 80s loved bouncing checks. I flew back to Texas after a year, turned myself into the U.S. Marshals. They asked me where I was. I told them New York. The judge sentenced me to a money management. So, that was just one of the biggest fears. But for me to get $50,000 pretty easily and effortlessly in about 4 months, it took me about 6 weeks to get the computer. And, because because see, I was starting to like it. I mean, what's not to like about going up to an ATM and walking away with $500 every time you go to the ATM? Doing that every day. Put it in my pocket. And I kept working crappy jobs at the whole time because I didn't want to get accustomed to that easy money. Take note, folks. You're already black to begin with, and the laws work differently for us. If you don't go about that don't get in the scamming game. Pretty much, because like I said, I knew that if I got caught, I wasn't going to get that much time. But having a record, because a lot of convicts cannot rent apartments because when they do a background check and they see that felony, they won't rent to them. The expat home. I mean, the first time, I'm gonna tell y'all, I think I shed a tear because when I put that ATM card in there and they went, I was like, almost, because my head was down and I was like, oh, and kept my head down because I knew that they were going, eventually the gig was going to be up, and I knew they were going to do an investigation, and they just had a picture of someone coming up to the ATM with gloves on, a hoodie. They never had a picture of my face. They had no clue who I was. Like a ghost. I was a ghost in the system, and I just knew, and I never told anybody, never. So, and once I was out, I was out. Never did it again. Never did it again. All right, so let's talk about this YouTube channel. I'm going to just started this today. My life as a full-time YouTuber. And I'm just going to be talking about, like, I know a lot of y'all don't really care about YouTube. You don't want to start a YouTube channel, so you're not going to subscribe. I totally get that. But for the folks who are interested, this channel is going to be a gold mine because I get to do like stuff that, no one else doing, like dating as a YouTuber, the YouTube algorithm, my opinion and stuff. There's all kinds of content that I now get to do and have fun with because I have a really good channel concept. Because if you're going to start a YouTube channel, you need to have a good channel concept, something that you could talk about for the next 3 to 4 years. You got to have a lot of content, and you got to have some good ideals. And there's just because see, there's a lot of people who are talking about how to do YouTube channels, but I have not found one channel that talked about the life of a YouTuber, because I'm going to do a video, a day in the life of the YouTuber, talk about the stuff I do. I'll talk about equipment, talk about the drone, talking about taking trips. There's so much that can be, there's so much content here that I can do. And, you know, because there was like 3 other YouTube channel ideas, and I may start another one in 3 or 4 months, because this is one of the things. Like starting a YouTube channel, like starting multiple channels and just really being lousy at all of them is really a bad idea. I know I got Savage Finance's season. Savage Finance hit 5,000 subscribers. Savage Finance made like $18,000 last month. So Savage Finance, because if you look at Savage Finance, I started that February 20th. So March 20th, April, May, June. Savage Finance is going to be 5 months old in 3 days. And it's already made $20,000. In the first 3 months, it made nothing. So most of that money came in, and I feel that Savage Finance, I should be able to get that maybe 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year and get it to 100K a month. And I'll be talking about how to make money with a small channel, because, you know, go ahead if you're interested in YouTube. If you're not, I totally get it. But if you're interested, check out 10 years on YouTube. And I just, because I can tell you from experience, you will make more money selling a product than AdSense unless your channel just explodes and you get like tens of millions. Because you will need to get 1 million views on a normal channel to get a $5,000 AdSense check. Now, I got a $4,000 AdSense check with a total of 250,000 views. So if I get 1 million views on my channels, I'm going to do 20K, because I got a crazy high CPM. I'll be talking about CPMs and all this other stuff that, you know, if you ain't interested in YouTube, you really don't care about. But I'm excited, because it opens up another door of creativity. It opens up another attitude for me to do things, set things up. It's going to be interesting. Mr. Urban World, before Amazon blew up with Prime, you could just build feedback with a dollar store products, and Amazon will allow you to release your money instantly, so people would list. Oh, okay. Well, Damon, I didn't really treat it like a stepping stone. I just, it was a way out at the time. Because, I mean, one of my biggest fears was I was going to be, it was so easy. It was so easy. I mean, literally just go ramble through some trash. And, you know, like each trip, if you just got, because, I mean, you would go to the same post office over and over again. And the postal, they never even took the trash out, and you would just go ahead, get a piece on Monday, get a piece on Tuesday. It was ridiculously easy. Carl Black, really? I never heard of Hush Puppy. Carl Black, I'm an Apple head. I've not used a Windows computer in years. I mean, it was like I struggle with it. Resale hound, people really got to shred their information. Many times I saw these checks and SSM will also curb hunting and scrapping pretty much. Yeah, Damon Dark, because see, you guys don't understand how easy this was. It was like, all right, You work 40 hours to make 100 to 200 bucks working a trash job. You actually work 50 hours when you add the time getting ready, the travel time, to make 200 bucks. And literally because of some information, I opened a checking account. I think active time for me to go get the canceled checks, it took 2 hours. For me to fill out the information, open up the banking account, that took 30 minutes. No, 15 minutes. So I made $50,000 off less than 6 hours work. That can be very, very seductive. That can be very, very dangerous. And I just had to keep myself out of it. I don't even know what Catalina is. So, yeah, I mean, it was a big struggle because you guys don't understand how easy it was. How, I mean, it was, I mean, when you think about it, literally 6 hours of work for $50,000. Think about that. What is that per hour? That was $8,333 an hour. And what, also it kind of opened up my mind to bigger possibilities that were legit and legal and safer and sane. But like I would never teach anyone how to do that stuff. It's, I mean, you can research it on the internet. So the danger with easy money, if you get totally seduced, you eventually get caught. Pretty much. And also, I'm really big about habits here. I was building some very bad habits. Oh, wake up, go to the ATM, get my put card in, and go back home. That was my job for the day, was to go get that $500 out the ATM. That was my job. And also, if I had been bigger and bolder, because later on I thought about it, if I could have opened up 5 accounts at the same time and had 5 ATM cards, I would have been getting 2,500 bucks a day. So every 10 days would have been 25,000. So it's crazy. So I mean, that's my white criminal background. I think I would have been an excellent criminal, but I still would have been a criminal because at the end of the day, it's wrong. It's just wrong. And I never, ever, because, I knew some people who rationalized, well, that's what the white people do and we got to do what we got to do. I never made that kind of rationalization. Yes, Damon. Yeah, that was, I mean, woo! It would have been a monster. Most of us are not built for jail. That's pretty much, because with the whole scamming thing is it just opened up so many doors now from a overview management process that opened that up too, because I was like, there are so many ways to get money and I'm doing all these trash jobs. So that's something that I left and moved away from. But Anthony Johnson, y'all see, this stuff is so seductive. I almost didn't do this, but I was like, it's Friday. What the heck? We could talk about it. It was what? 1999, 2009. It's 21 years ago. Yeah, because man, because see, eventually, that. Well, I can't say this. I never got caught, and I think there's a lot of mega criminals out there who never get caught. But the thing is, you have to do it all yourself. You cannot freelance. You can't bring other people in, because that's how these folks get caught. Because typically, I was watching, I think Wall Street Trapper was saying that most of the people get caught because someone snitched on them, and that's how they get caught. So if you do all your capers by yourself, there's no one to snitch on you. There was no one to snitch on you. But I did learn a lot, and it also opened up my mind. Alrighty. I don't know what's going on with hello. But hey, that's all I got for you guys. If you want to learn how to do YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the new YouTube Life on the Tube YouTube channel, because there's going to be different kind of videos on there. So go ahead and get that, and I will see you guys later. Y'all have a great weekend.